for anybody that's self-employed like myself, the buck stops at you all the time, so you take all the risk and you hope that everything will go right all the time, especially when when measurements is your business all day, every day. So it can be quite mentally draining, and when you get familiar with a particular job and way of doing things, in this case I have a panel, and normally speaking a panel will sit in about 12 mil into the frame all around it, like a picture frame for all the world. And sometimes things go wrong, and I'm one of these people, when I make errors, I don't seem to make small ones, I seem to make big ones. And it occurred this week, just with my drawer fronts, luckily enough, that the distance here is normally 12 mil, but in this case, because of the fingerless pull, the recess in the top rail happened to be deeper. So what did O'Connell do? He cut the panel here, this vertical part here, 10 mil too short, which left a gaping wound down here. Now, when you're very experienced, there's either two ways around it. You just take the hit and redo it again if it has to be done, or else you draw on all the knowledge you have over the years and the experience and understanding, and you apply it. And in this case, I got a get out of jail card. You don't always get that. So this is the end result. I'm not going to explain the magic, but the end result there is that the panel is its proper height, and so is the drawer front itself at 283, so it's a pot drawer. So I got out of jail pretty good with that. To correct a mistake, to have to remake the stuff, to remake the panel would have taken at least a day and a half maybe to do it for 9 panels. So I got out pretty handy out of that one. I was able to repair the mistake and produce the final result. I think it took 3 hours. A stonemason friend of mine, gifted stonemason, when we were working together one time, he said to me, any mistake that can be corrected isn't a mistake. And I like that concept of once we can correct a mistake, it takes us out of jail. But when it does happen and you realise the enormity of what you've done through all your work, and then you realise it's wrong, the anxiety and the sense of the pit of your stomach, you get sick to the pit of your stomach with the initial bang it hits you, because you have to remake something and put all the time back into it again. But however, when you do correct a mistake and all is rosy in the garden again, it does happen when you're self-employed, and the self-employed person always pays the price. It's the big difference between a person that's in employment. If they make an error, they still get paid at the end of the week, and sometimes nobody even notices. When you're self-employed, there's no, the buck stops with you, and you must pay the price immediately. So in time and in money as well, materials and money, or materials and time, which should add up to money. So that happens. Came to a chair here. It's a chair that was actually in Burke's Bacon in Clonmel. For anybody that knows Clonmel pretty well, it was a major employer in the town up to, I think, around 1984, not quite sure. I just happened to do a repair for this lady, and the chair itself was one of the boardroom chairs for the boardroom that went with the business, as they say. So all the heavy hitters in that business would have sat on this chair, or some of them anyway, the boardroom directors. And when I was doing the chair, I just take it apart to do general repairs on it, I came across the very same thing I've just been speaking about, with somebody making an error on the job themselves. Now this chair is probably, I think it's around 1890, 1900. How do I know that? Because I know that the mortises are done in here, they weren't hand cut. However, the tenons were. So, and why were they cut? Because it's curvature. It would have been difficult to do it on a tenon. Not that it couldn't be done, it could, but I doubt very much if there was a tenon available to do that work back in the day. A mortiser, maybe so. So I came across this, some guy fell asleep on a Monday morning as well, like myself the other day, and the mortises, as you can see, are here. There's the 2 mortises. But hey presto, if I take away my hands, look, he had mortise down lower on the leg here, and he had mortise down lower on the leg here. Realised his error, and he had to backtrack. Now in this case he got a get out of jail card as well, because he was able to fill that again with a nice little piece. And of course it's the inside of the leg, which is here, and there was a bracket coming across at the back of it here, and the damage is on the inside here, and it's on the inside here. So he was able to get away with that simply by putting wood dyes onto it then to camouflage it. And what the client doesn't see, the tradesman gets away with, or the craftsperson. But you can see there, a mistake. This is a mistake made by a craftsman maybe 115, 20 years ago. And when you're stripping back or you're doing repair work like that, you can unearth guys that were like myself, not infallible. We all make mistakes, and when we do, you get that pit of the stomach anxiety kick. And you say, oh my God, how do I deal with that? But you do. You correct the mistakes or you redo it again. In this case, to remake a leg like that, it's what's called a compound curvature, which means that it curves in one direction and it also curves swept in the other direction. So that's compounding. Deal with that in another video. It's quite interesting work. But there you go. This is little clip that I'm putting forward on for you is just to show that when things go wrong, how they affect us mentally, psychologically, and how we apply our knowledge, experience and understanding to actually put the correction into place and how we correct them. So that's a little interesting little clip I just thought was worth sharing on camera, that life in the workshop doesn't always go right. When it goes wrong, it puts you under pressure, and then we're on what we call the back foot. So you get the foot back forward again so you can go forward. So I don't know if that's of use or a piece of useless information to people, but there you go. This is a day in the life of a guy at the cutting edge of extinction. Over and out for now.